Rejuran, what is it and what can it do? Rejuran is not really a filler, or so they claim. It is a regenerative boosting agent or wound healing agent. So it is used in the aesthetic space. It's not available in the United States yet. It is available in certain European countries as well as in Korea and Singapore and a couple other Asian countries, including Australia. So what it is, it looks like a filler. However, as you know, HA fillers have a chemical that's actually filling something. Rejuran is actually derived from DNA. Now, this may get me banned, and if you are sensitive to words, please just don't say anything and delete what I'm saying for the next couple of seconds. Rejuran is derived from salmon sperm DNA, or male salmon ejaculate. So they process this DNA and create PNs, polynucleotides, and place it into a syringe. There are different types, which we'll get into in just a second, but essentially it looks like a traditional HA filler syringe, but it's not. What makes this chemical so unique is it is derived from salmon DNA. It triggers the fibroblasts in humans, and it allows these fibroblasts to do their thing. So the fibroblasts can help with tissue repair, angiogenesis, which basically is a fancy term for blood vessel growth. It is anti-ischemic, so it helps with oxygenation in the area, and it can also help with healing and regenerative factors. Finally, interestingly enough, it actually blocks UV rays, specifically UVB rays. So you notice that I said regenerative. In the filler space, HA is a wonderful filling agent, but it actually doesn't really produce that much collagen. It doesn't actually have regenerative properties. It doesn't really heal. In the world of fillers, there are actually biostimulatory filling agents. So there's Radiesse, which is calcium hydroxyapatite, and Sculptra, which is PLLA. So those are chemical compounds. If you inject it into the face, into various other areas of the body, they do induce a small amount of collagen growth. How much? It depends on whether you believe the companies or their claims, but they definitely have some biostimulation. Rejuran is different. It actually came from the wound healing space. So specifically, when they came up with this compound, they actually tested it not only in animal studies, but in human studies. They injected it intramuscularly for diabetic patients, and they found that diabetic foot ulcers actually improved. They came up with a gel for pressure sores or pressure ulcers, and they found that the pressure sores actually started to heal up, and so the wound healing improved. They did another study in human skin grafting and found that it seems to actually help with wound healing and skin graft tape, which is very impressive. Finally, it's actually been topically applied for hair loss, and it seems to actually help with hair loss as well. So, as you can tell, these are real studies which have shown that they help with wound healing, and all the things that the fibroblasts do when they're triggered by Rejuran actually seem to definitely help in humans in terms of healing. So why is this so important? Well, they started using it aesthetically, and they found that, hey, when we inject it, it actually improves skin quality, skin texture, and a couple other things which I'll mention, because it actually regenerates the skin. This is very different from hyaluronic acid, which doesn't technically regenerate the skin, as well as other biostimulatory compounds, which again help with collagen growth or stimulate growth, but aren't as strong in terms of wound healing, growing new blood vessels, or angiogenesis, because those compounds simply didn't have those effects. So Rejuran does come in different forms. It's just PN, in other words, just polynucleotide. It can be mixed with PN plus HA, the polynucleotide plus hyaluronic acid filler. Finally, even if it's just pure PN, it comes in different thicknesses, if you will. So you can inject it directly into a wrinkle and it'll fill it up, as well as have some wound healing, regenerative properties. You can also have it relatively dilute, sort of more liquidy, so it's injected multiple times into the skin, pretty superficial. They have a cool looking gun which can do it. So it's a gun that has tiny needles that can inject it just underneath the skin surface. You can also do it manually, of course, where you're making tiny little injections all over the place and injecting it just under the skin. So in terms of the way it looks to me, at least at the conference that I went to, it does look like a typical syringe of filler. However, the way it's injected, even though it's similar, does have completely different properties. I think the closest analogy would probably be anything that fills today that we have in the US. You want to give the thicker one, and Skin V, which is a skin booster, that's given superficially with multiple tiny injections. Well, that's how you would use Rejuran's version of a skin booster, and you'd inject it the same way and treat patients the same way. Typically, most doctors who are using it recommend, about one treatment every 4 weeks. You may need a total of 3, 4, 6 treatments depending on what you want and your needs. And it definitely seems to work. So it's been out for a couple years already in other countries. It will be interesting to see how and if and when the FDA approves DNA-derived chemical compound to be placed into humans for human use for aesthetic reasons. Do you have any questions about Rejuran? You excited to see this salmon DNA-derived product? If you have any comments, you want me to talk about other things as well, just let me know. Finally, this is a fun fact. Did you know that male fish ejaculate is called milt, M-I-L-T? It's hard for me to learn new SAT words at my age, but hey, that's a new one I learned researching Rejuran. Thanks so much for watching.